guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 23 years old, young guy, and he's writing in to share his story and seek advice, as recently he ended things with his fiancée. And yes, you heard that right, 23 years old and fiancée. Way too freaking young. But you're going to see that he ended things because her true colors came out when they started planning the wedding. You're going to see that not just her true colors, but also the whole dynamics and problems with her family. Essentially, her parents are a bunch of a-holes, and they don't like him. He doesn't like them. They don't like his parents don't like them. And last but not least, guess what? The girl is siding with the parents. So it's a big mess. And as I've said before, guys, it's a mistake in my opinion, and I stand by this to my dying breath, to get married so young. But this guy is religious, and he wants to have a family and be married. And my opinion is, guys, you can wait longer. The Lord will understand. You can go forth and multiply later. There's already enough people on the planet, 8 billion plus, and growing every day. But anyhow, guys, I'm covering this one to help this guy out. He wants to make sure he made the right decision here. And to make the point, again, that if you are with a girl and you got a good thing going with her, and her family's a freaking mess, and they don't like you, and there's all this drama, and clearly she's not going to give them up for you, or something like that, you need to look at the big picture, because this could become your family, and it can be a big freaking problem, and it's just, you don't need that. And so I'm going to go through this guy's story here, making the point. And of course, yes, the lesson of don't get married super young, regardless of religion. Again, the Lord, I'm sure, will understand. Oh, and yeah, by the way, guys, this was very long at first. He's very wordy, so I trimmed parts out of it, and I'll summarize the things I cut out because it's very long. Young people like to talk a lot. Oh, and again, guys, I've been saying all week, if you haven't done it already, if you're on X, formerly Twitter, come check me out, SSM Channels, trying to really grow it over there because I'm not being promoted as I used to be, but we're all having a good time over there, and definitely help me out. And if you're not getting updates over here about new videos and all, you will over there. Okay, so he says here, hello, SSM. Before I begin, I've been a long-time fan, not one of the originals, but it's still crazy to say that I've been watching your content for just about 4 years now, since April 2021. Keep up the good work, and thanks for the knowledge and entertainment. Well, you're welcome, bro. But I want to mention that if you've been watching me for 4 years, why the heck are you getting married at 23 years old? You clearly missed a few videos about that subject, but I'll come back to that. Well, on to the actual story. I think I have one of the more unique stories you probably ever received. Everybody says that, but, you know, I'm not sure if it'll make it for a video. There's no cheating involved, and there isn't even any hatred or animosity between my girlfriend and myself. Oh yeah, give it time. You just broke up with her. But the situation is still very messy, mainly due to the relationship between our parents, as well as between my parents and her parents. The story is very long, but all the info I'll give is important to have the context to fully understand where I am right now. I'll try my best to condense it as much as I can. Keep in mind that I will show her this video, so include lessons for her too, since she says she wants to make things right. You're going to show this video to your girl? Well, you said you broke up, but obviously you're still talking. Okay, I'll be honest, but you said you tried to condense this story. It's still pretty long. I cut things out because, let's be honest, the guys aren't going to listen that long if it's too long. To give you the gist of the story before we got into detail, myself and my girlfriend had a great relationship. Notice he said had. And we're scheduled to get married in the fall of 2024, but that didn't end up happening as I got postponed, canceled due to her parents' immaturity and her lack of courage for being able to stand up for us in our relationship. Look, if she's going to marry you, you got to come first. You got to be the first guy in her life, first in general. Otherwise, no way. And she's got to be your first girl for you. The relationship has been hanging on by a thread since then, and I'm now asking for your perspective and advice on the matter. I have my complaints with her, but I do not hate her. If this issue could ever be resolved, I'd be happy. I still love her, but I just highly doubt that it ever can be resolved. Dude, I don't think it's going to be resolved. I don't want to bullshit you here. Now to begin, I'm 23 years old, and so is my girlfriend. Smack! Planning a wedding to get married at 23 years old? Are you nuts? Bro, what's the rush? Come on here. You've been watching me 4 years. Have you learned nothing? Get yourself established in your career. Save some money. Get to know your girl more. Because I know you don't know her. You haven't known her that long. We come from a religious background, which is important to the story, as many things that happen in the story stem from the issues of being religious and wouldn't be a problem for, say, any typical American. No premarital sex, obviously. We both agreed that we're not here to waste each other's time. We're only together if we are working towards marriage, and that we are working towards that as soon as possible. I'm fully aware that you think you'll smack me for being 23 looking to get married. Yeah, smack one more time. Bro, okay, you're both religious, and I got no problem if you haven't slept together, yet you want to wait till marriage. Fine, I respect that. It's not what I would do, but that's okay. It's your business. But there's no rush. I'm making an informed decision to get smacked as my religion is important to me. We've been together for 2 years, and for the first year, our relationship was great. That's called the honeymoon period, dude. 2 years. That's nothing. Come on here. Yes, obviously it was because of the honeymoon phase. I'm aware of that. But to be honest, even now, when we're able to look past the issues surrounding, we're great with each other. We have fun, get along, and the attraction between us has not died. Yeah, but she's not standing up for you like she should with regards to her parents. Her parents come before you. That's a problem. It doesn't make a difference how attracted you are to each other, how much fun you have. And guess what? You can't stand her parents can't stand you, and back and forth with your parents. Now, he gets into a bunch of details here, which I'm going to skip over because I'm going to stick to the most important parts. He goes on and says, this may sound odd, but in my religion and culture, it's the parents that vet each other and discuss arrangements for weddings. Sounds odd, I'm sure, but it works just fine in the vast majority of cases, but I suppose I'm in the minority. Well, I want to know what religion this is. This was around early 2024, and the wedding had been roughly set for the summer and fall of 2024, with it getting narrowed down closer to the event. This wasn't going to be a huge wedding event, rather a small religious ceremony with only close friends and family involved. A big event was supposed to happen this year in 2025. Why? Save the freaking money. Save your parents some money, for goodness sake. In the time between meeting her parents and when the issues arose, I had a very good relationship with her parents. I saw them as people who will basically become my second parents, and I always wanted to put my best foot forward. I suppose no good deed goes unpunished. She also had a seemingly good relationship with my parents, but still had apprehension towards them due to her own mother and grandma, her mom's mother-in-law, having their own issues back in the day. Now he says some other things and I skip over because we're sticking to the point here. Leading to the actual conflict now. In June, it was mutually decided that the event would be in October 2024. And you mean the wedding? And the event would not be held in a large banquet hall, rather something small and cost-effective like a recreation center, party room, seeing as we're both young, and it will save for a bigger event later. Importantly, it was also mutually agreed upon that the cost for the event would be shared. Okay, splitting the money between both families. Well, that's reasonable, but usually, traditionally, it's the bride's family that pays for the wedding, while the groom's family pays for, the rehearsal dinner. I think sometimes a honeymoon, but okay, whatever. So we were searching for venues that met our needs. She kept pushing for something better so that it would be more pretty, and I couldn't care less. I cared about being married, making her my wife, but not the actual event. Right here, you're more caring about the marriage and the family. She's focused on the event. What does that say? Now, that's obviously pretty fucking normal, sadly, but really. That would cause some friction between us as she wanted me to be excited. Whenever I pitched an idea, it was shot down anyway, so I couldn't care less. But again, this wasn't the cause for the issues either. Most guys don't give a shit about most things in regards to weddings, and then they voice their opinions, they get shot down. That sounds pretty fucking normal. The issues began the next week. I happened to be on a date with her. She was in my car and I was driving. Her parents called her and told her they were at the banquet hall and they are about to book it since it might be available later, or might not be available later. She asked her parents to wait a day so they could see it, but they said no, that they don't want to risk it being gone. She hung up the call and I was incredibly confused as just a week prior we had all agreed to a recreation center and keeping the budget small. So her parents are taking over. Not taking in your opinion, or your parents, because they're splitting the costs. Yeah, that ain't cool. I'm sure they can hold it for a freaking day without having to book it right away. I think that's nonsense. Upon my insistence, her dad called mine, and my dad told hers that we want some more time to discuss this whole thing, and to hold off on booking it for now. I soon got home and discussed it with my family. I was pretty pissed off on the drive home because it felt like it was greatly disrespectful to make such a big decision without consulting us, especially with money involved. I got no problem with this. In terms of you having an issue with this. The families are splitting the cost, and her dad doesn't even have the decency to let us have an opinion. In what world does someone pay for 50% of something and still have no say in the matter? Like a marriage? If it had not been for a fluke between my girl at the time, I would have even been able to intervene. Everything would have been booked, and they'd merely be informing about us. My dad has always been very calm, not speaking much, and he avoids conflict, so he didn't say any of this initially on the first call. Well, your dad needs to grow a pair. He said he avoids conflict, means he's passive. People like that tend to be walked all over. That's not good. But when I got home, I guess some of my passion rubbed off on him. We ended up calling your dad back because we were worried that he may have interpreted the hold off as put a hold on it and put a deposit down. He says, in parentheses, immigrant parents, not the easiest to communicate some things sometimes. Aha. Well, my dad called back and he aired his grievances. He didn't yell, but he basically told her dad off. That how can he make such an important decision unilaterally, and that he is placing a financial burden on my dad since my brother was also getting married in 2024. Wow, a lot of marriages in your family. In response to being called out, he raised his voice and exclaimed, "I'll pay, I'll pay." My dad, being a wise man and sensing that her dad was getting heated, said these things should be discussed in person and invited them to our house in an hour's time to discuss. All this bullshit over a fucking party. Let's be honest, that's what this is, guys. It's ridiculous. He gives some information that's not that important to me, so I skip some parts, but again, sticking to the main points. He says, we were shocked by how her dad yelled on the phone call. There was some bullshit, obviously, but just thought whatever, and that we should look forward. We had brainstormed what we would propose to them, either go back to the original plan or plan B, where they can do this event at a banquet hall and fund it themselves. And we'll do next year's event and fund it ourselves. We started getting the house prepared for them to come over when her dad texted my dad that they are deciding to postpone the wedding as they were apparently disrespected and cannot get their daughter married where they are not respected. Here we go. You're supposed to get married, and both families are going to contribute. All of a sudden, like, nope, we're not doing it anymore. Yeah, you can see where there's problems arising here, and how the dad was acting towards your dad and you, and all that stuff like that. Now we got drama here. Obviously, we were blindsided by this. For myself, from this moment on, a hatred for her parents, and especially her dad, started to build. Yeah, not a good thing to marry into. Hatred's a pretty strong word. I would say great disdain. My dad responded that he's very disappointed that he took another unilateral decision and that all we wanted to do was be able to discuss this. My dad reiterated that our doors are always open for him to come and discuss. Instead of responding in kind, her dad doubled and tripled down, talking shit over messages, saying things like, now he knows where our priorities lie, and other nonsense. He refused to discuss the matter and refused to even give a date or time when he would be opening to discussing. So it's his way or the highway. That's what you'd be marrying into. Yeah, no thanks. Your girl may be great and fun and cool and beautiful and all that, but you don't need this shit. Your parents don't like them. They don't like your parents. You don't like, round and round we go. But we haven't got to the part where the girl is taking her parents' side. After that, my parents were turned off from the whole thing, and rightfully so. My girl, being a typical woman, just told me how she's so scared. I told her she doesn't need to be scared as long as she stands by me. That we'll work through it as long as she stands by me. But in hindsight, she never stood by me. She only stood with her parents. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. That's the problem. When couples get married, if they really love each other, for the guy, she's his number one girl. Before his own mama and sister and family. And he's her number one guy before her father or brothers, anybody else. That's how it should be. You know? If her parents are a bunch of fucking assholes and all that, it'd be one thing if she was 100% on your side saying, hey, if it gets too far, hey, it's just you and me, and the hell with them. But this also is unlikely to happen to someone that's 23 years old and you guys are too young. It's very hard for young people to stand up to their parents. I'm not saying it's easy for her, but still. Like all this bullshit. Now, I skipped some parts here because, again, we don't need all the details. Over the next month, she tried to get me to do many things to bow down to her parents' will. Right there. Nope. She wanted me to message her dad. I told her I will not do that because I didn't do anything wrong. She said it was because her dad wanted to see that I cared. I told her that I had nothing to prove to her, and if she wanted to prove that to her dad anyways, she can just show us any of our conversations where I'm clearly being very caring for her health and safety. Yeah, you're not going to bow down and kiss her dad's ass. No. Now again, he writes a bunch of stuff I skip over because we're sticking to the main things. Fast forward in time, he says, in August, I made a big mistake, or my biggest mistake. She basically gave me an ultimatum saying that her dad is about to end it once and for all. So I should come and talk to her dad to try and resolve things to some extent. I took the bait. I talked to her dad with herself and her mom present. She also told me not to push back on anything her dad says too much, as she didn't want him to get angry again. I also did this just for her. Smack! There's being respectful to your elders, but when they're being assholes and assholes to your family, as a man, you stand up for yourself. Again, giving you ultimatums and all this thing, this is not a good place, my man. And remember, you've only known her 2 years. This is a bad idea. Okay, we skip over some things. There's drama and bullshit going on, and he says, fast forward a few weeks, her dad finally called my dad. But again, there was no accountability at all. Of course not, her dad's a dick. When I got to her house, I said that my parents don't need a full-blown apology, but I still expected him to take some accountability, not just act like nothing happened. The whole point is that we want to see that he actually accepts that he made a mistake and vows to not do it again. In other words, show you guys some respect. Her dad obviously feels very superior. The actual word sorry means nothing. It's about showing that you won't repeat the action again. In other words, words mean nothing, actions mean everything. But again, in this phone call, he acted like all is well and that nothing ever happened. By this point, my dad was completely done. He asked if I really still wanted to get married to this girl. There you go. Your dad's asking you a good question. Truth be told, deep down inside, I did. Notice he said you did, not I do. Because, like I said, away from all these issues that her parents caused, our relationship was still very good. Your relationship doesn't sound very good to me, man, when she's pulling ultimatums and trying to pull bullshit and all that. Yes, she didn't support me, but at the time, in my mind, I could justify it on her behalf with the idea that she's just in the fog of war and emotional and doesn't realize she's making a mistake. And she'll come around. Smack! Good luck with that. You cave to this, you'll be caving everything. No. She knows what she's doing. I get this pressure from her parents. Okay, I'm fair here, and she's young. But if she's old enough to get married at 23 years old, then she's old enough to stand up for her parents and stand by her man. She ain't doing that. And you want to be married to someone that won't do that. Because imagine being married to her and marrying into this family, and her parents are going to be dictating how things go. Where you live, kids, family dynamics, all that. Oh, yeah. And she's going to be going along with what daddy says, not you. Since my brother's wedding was very near, my dad said, we'll discuss after that, although I didn't know what he meant, which is the first time I will accept that my dad did something wrong. Now he does get into all, his brother got married, and at the wedding everybody's saying, when do you get married and everything, but I'll skip over that because it's not crucial. Fast forward in time, he says, in the meantime, myself and my girlfriend's relationship was getting worse. Oh, shocker. This whole time from June to October, she was pushing me away by constantly siding with her parents and putting all the responsibility to fix things on me. Well, you are the man, so that's one, I get that portion of it, but at the end of the day, her parents, dad, is acting like the asshole. She ain't standing by her man here. All of a sudden, she became so traditional and such a damsel, and all of a sudden, it was the guy's responsibility to fight for the girl. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Be a girl worth fighting for, and she's not being a girl worth fighting for. And also saying that girls don't fight for their man, and it's the man's responsibility to ask the father for the girl's hand in marriage. Well, you're already getting married, so that's neither here nor there. That's irrelevant. All these talking points, plus her constantly siding with her parents, caused a ton of fights between us, to the point where I didn't even want to hang out with her anymore. And yeah, you want to marry her? She had pushed me away so far, and I told her that too. But that didn't stop her. I told her that I even told her even now that I know deep down inside I still love her, but it's not the same as before. That maybe it could come back one day, but for all that to happen, she can't keep pushing me away and causing fights. I know a lot of you guys are like, okay, SSM, I don't want to hear more of this shit. This guy's talking too fucking much. Well, I cut a lot out. Young people talk a lot. You all know them. Young people know I'm right about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the part of the story that I mentioned here. Bro, can you see this is not too good? Well, we reached December. Her dad was getting frustrated, which I understand, as we had not reached out. Fuck her dad. He's the one who caused all these problems to begin with. He set out another ultimatum. Oh, how nice. That we need to meet and fix things before the end of the year. This ultimatum was communicated to me through my girlfriend. We had a vacation to go on around Christmas time, so we weren't available. Still, despite everything in the past that happened, I put my best foot forward and voluntarily messaged her dad that meeting in December and would be very hard to the vacation. That we can commit to a date in January before we leave so that he at least knows we're committed. This whole mess really came up because of her dad. Now there's more crap I skip over. So there's a bunch of BS going on, and finally, listen to this. He says, so I decided to break up with her. About damn time, man. It's not what I want ideally. I tried very hard for over a year and a half to fix things, but I could never do it because I never had the support that would be needed. It hurt, but I accepted that we were just not right for each other or meant to be. Bro, obviously. One of the things I've been firm about is I want to break up on good terms. He mentioned this is his first relationship. Yeah, breaking up on good terms doesn't happen very much. It says here, I don't have any interest in name calling her or her dad or anything. There's no need to even talk about the past because that's when the animosity comes out. Let's just mutually agree to move on in peace. I broke up with her in the middle of January. Good. Stay that way. It's not going to get any better. Even though I know you said you're going to have her watch this. Hi, girl. He says, you might think that this is where the story ends, but it's not the end because she wouldn't accept the breakup. Well, doesn't make a difference whether she doesn't want it or not. You're done. And you've given her plenty of chances, but she's always, choosing her parents, making you out to be the bad guy. It's your fault. You got to fix this. Fight for your girl. She's not fighting for you. I've been trying hard to make her accept it, but she wants to try it one more time. Suddenly, she's ready to support me no matter what and call out her parents. Oh, look what happens when a guy shows some balls. Look what happens when a guy walks away. I've been telling you this for 4 years in the videos you're watching me. Now, all of a sudden, she's willing to do anything. Why wasn't she willing to do anything for the last year or so with all this drama going on? Because she thought she had you. Because you committed after 2 years of knowing her and get married 23 years old. This is what I tell you. When they think they got you, right here. But when you can walk away at any time, all of a sudden their attitude changes. Suddenly she realized that fighting me for the last 6+ months and not standing by me was an issue. She got newsflash. She always knew that. She didn't care before because she thought she had you. Suddenly she realized that her not being able to stand up for our relationship and letting her parents make all the decisions uncontested was an issue. She wants us to meet with a third person, a mutual friend of sort, as a therapy session. I've always held the view that if we need a third person to help our relationship work, our relationship is doomed in the long run anyways. Dude, it is doomed. Anyway, we have conflict. We will go out airing our dirty laundry. But in order to maintain the peace, I've agreed to do it. Smack! Now you're caving again. It's not what you want, dude. What peace? You're broken up. It would have happened already had it not been for a medical emergency in my family. Am I making the right decision? No. What's your perspective? Don't do it. To me, if I need to be ready to walk away for you to see your mistake and finally be able to decipher right from wrong, our relationship will always be filled with drama. Your relationship with her will be filled with drama, dude. To me, I'm 99% done. Well, get 100% done. I've told her to be prepared for nothing to come out of this meeting because we just have to have irreconcilable differences. Her parents, myself, my parents will never ever be able to see eye to eye. I tell her to be prepared for it, be done. I've accepted everything. I'm not worried. I know that she's not the only girl I can find happiness with, and I've told her to her face that I know that I'm also not the only guy she could find happiness with. There are millions of people in this world. Correction, there are billions of people in this world, but there probably are thousands and thousands that you could have a darn good thing with, if done right, and so could she. I just can't trust her to fight for me, and I can't trust her parents to not fuck things up again. And really, I just don't like them. In fact, I can't stand them. I've told her that's not the most peaceful route in the separation, but she doesn't want to listen. She's madly in love with me, no doubt about that, but it's just a little too late, and I'm afraid. Dude, she's not madly in love with you. Her actions don't say anything that she's madly in love with you, but you're too inexperienced to know the difference. And to know that. I just don't see this working out. Trust your gut. I can't stand her parents. She doesn't like mine. My parents don't like hers. And her parents don't like mine. I'll never move forward until they accept their wrongdoings, and they'll never accept their wrongdoings. This is not a recipe for a happy marriage. It isn't just the wrongdoings they have. It's just that they're assholes, and they disregard you, the dad, and her dad's trying to run the whole thing, and your now ex-girlfriend was going along with it. That would have been your marriage. This is not a good foundation to bring kids into, to start and build a family on. Some might say I'm overreacting by using the word hate, but I don't care. It's the truth, because he was saying he hated them. And yeah, great family to marry into if you hate them. I have my reasons, too. They hurt me greatly by canceling my wedding. They caused myself and my family humiliation by doing that. When I see my mom cry because of what they did, how am I supposed to hate them? To not hate them. All because of their lack of manners, massive egos, and need for control. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. Control. Again, let me know your opinion. Things I should have done better. Things I could have done better. Thanks for getting through this. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope it makes to a video. I spent 3 hours writing this. Cheers. Well, any loyal fan that spends 3 hours writing their story, I got to cover out of appreciation and respect for them. But I had to condense this, amigo. I don't know. What the hell's the clock say? 26 minutes there? Shit. If I didn't condense it, we'd be at 35 at this point. Brother, it's over. Okay? And I know your girl's watching, and honey, it is over too. You guys aren't a match to be. Okay? You didn't support your guy when you should have, and you're only supporting him now because he's walking away. This is not going to work. Both your parents and families can't stand each other. The girl's family is their way of the highway. Your girl isn't standing up for you when she should have. She had ample opportunities to do so. I can go round and round here, and obviously you know it's over. And I might add, you're too darn young. I know you're a smart guy. I can tell. I can tell by you're smart in the sense of other areas, except for when it comes to relationships, women, and getting married too young. But you're inexperienced. You need to have some serious experience in life on multiple fronts. You need to be with a girl that you've been with longer than 2 years before you start planning a wedding. This is just a bad idea. It would be a terrible move to marry her because she doesn't support you now. What do you think it's going to be like when you get married? Her parents are going to be running the show. She's not going to stand up to them. They're going to be telling you where to live. They're going to be telling you where you're supposed to be, probably where you should work. They'll be telling you how to raise your kids, on and on. And she'll just, yes, daddy. Look at her actions. I get, again, she's young. She's 23. And it's tough standing up to the parents and all, especially in a household like that. Probably, I get the whole religious honor thy father and mother, but you could stand up for yourself without being a disrespectful fuck. But she's going to marry you, then you got to come first. It's like if you told me, she said, I'm done with it, I'll never talk to them again if they're acting this way, that'd be a different story, but that's not the case. And don't get any ideas, girl. I know you're hearing this. Don't even try. So, bro, no, it's over. This will be your life. It'll be miserable. So if you want a life of drama and misery, go ahead and marry her. But I'm telling you now, it's not going to be a good thing. You're 23, you're young. You got your whole life ahead of you. Get yourself established in your career, whatever that may be. Save up some freaking money. Put your trust in the Lord, but as long as the Lord doesn't say marry her. Otherwise, somebody else is telling you something else. And you got your whole life, man. You can have kids way later in life and no problem there. And I suggest you focus in your career, get past this. End of story. No, don't do this silly meeting. It's pointless. You want to be with her and move on. And you want to be with a girl that you truly have been with her for years, getting to know her, and that the families get along. At bare minimum, get along, but ideally they like each other. So it's a pleasant environment. Can you imagine raising kids with all this turmoil and fighting? You're destined for divorce. I don't know how divorce is in your religion. Probably frowned upon, I guess, but still. Why be miserable? And again, if you watch me for 4 freaking years, I think you ought to know better. And he said you're both virgins, and okay, that's your business, but I'm probably sure that's pushing you a little bit, wanting to get some here. That's one of the problems when the guys that say they want to save themselves to marry is they tend to rush things along because down south it's like, I got to fuck something. Okay, seriously. So, Bro, I'm glad you wrote in, and it should have been obvious, but you're young, you got your whole life ahead of you, but just please, in the future, take a lot longer to get to know your girl, her family. There's no rush, and you're going to be all right. But if you marry her, I'm telling you, it is not going to be a pretty picture. And I hope you can part ways amicably. And if you said that she doesn't want to take no for an answer, well, she's going to have to. And honey, you're watching this, you're going to have to. End of story. You're a young girl, learn from your mistakes. The next guy comes around you have a good thing with, take your time to get to know him, his family. And if he's a good guy, stand by him. Love him. Show your loyalty. He comes first before your parents. And if your dad's going to act this way with other guys, there's going to be problems, What's done is done. Move on. You're going to be okay. You're both going to be okay. You're young. You're going to be okay. That's all I can think of at this point. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Please give this guy advice in the comment section. For all you guys out there that have been married and are now divorced and probably were a lot like this young guy when you were young and thought the things he thought, love will find a way, the Lord will provide, God's plan, all those things. Please give him a piece of advice about reality in life and let him know the choice he makes now is going to determine pretty much how his life's going to go on multiple fronts. Let him know, you experienced guys out there been divorced. Please, let's help another young guy before he makes a life-altering bad mistake. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.